everybody, I am back. This is Cooking with Kimberly. Today I want to show you how to make tuna salad. That's something that we eat here on the homestead on a regular basis. It's high in protein, it's really easy to make, and it only requires a few ingredients. So what I like to do usually is run you guys through the ingredients first. As you can see here, I do have tuna. Obviously I'm not using all of this. This is 1.88 kilograms or 1.88 kilograms. I'm not using all of that all at once. But I will use, you obviously have to use tuna for tuna salad. Your next ingredient, you can see here on my cutting board, I have celery and I have onions. I actually just picked these right from my garden, so they're super fresh. I'm gonna make sure that I wash them up and cut them up properly. Then you have Dijon mustard. You can use regular mustard for this, but I don't suggest it. Dijon mustard is better. We have mayonnaise. And then for your spices, you have parsley and black pepper. You can add extra spices if you want. You can add chives, you can add salt, anything that you'd like really in terms of what goes into your tuna salad. For us, what we found really works is parsley, which is super healthy for you, and just a little bit of black pepper. Now, in terms of the tools that you're gonna need, obviously if you have tuna in a can, you need a can opener. If you have fresh tuna, all the better, but we don't have fresh tuna at the moment, so it's canned tuna. So you're gonna need a can opener. You will need a bowl. The size of the bowl is obviously going to depend on how large of a helping you're making or how large of a serving you're making. I have a cutting board here for my celery and for my onions. Because I am multiplying this recipe by 3, I have a scale because I have to multiply it by 3 times just to make sure that I have accurate weights here. So I've got my bowl here for my tuna when I weigh it out. I also have another bowl here for my compost. Because we have chickens, all of the excess onion and all of the excess celery, once I chop it all off, all the leaves are going to go to the chickens, so I have my compost bowl. That's not something that you have to have, that's something that I have just because of where we are. Those are our ingredients, as well as the majority of our tools. You will need a 1/4 cup. I have a 3/4 cup here because I'm multiplying the recipe by 3 times, but you will need a 1/4 cup. And you will also need a teaspoon and a tablespoon. That's non-negotiable. You need a teaspoon and a tablespoon, as well as some sort of mixer or some sort of larger spoon to be able to mix all of your ingredients together. That's all for your ingredients, that's all for your tools. Let's wash our hands and get started. All right, once that's all finished, you can see that I have my celery and my onions here. We like to go light on the celery and onions just because it's not really something that we like to have a whole lot of, especially onions when you're spicing it up in your food. So this particular recipe calls for 10 ounces of tuna. Now I have already gone ahead and drained my tuna. You can see that I have the majority of my tuna drained in here. So instead of 10 ounces, I have done 30 ounces, just because we are multiplying it by 3, just so it lasts for a couple extra days, just so that it actually makes sense to have in the fridge. So we have our 30 ounces of tuna here. Now this particular recipe also calls for, it says 1 stalk of celery. So I took 3 stalks of celery and cut it up because I'm multiplying it by 3. So 3 stalks of celery and cut it up. It also calls for 2 teaspoons of red onion. So I have what is approximately 6 teaspoons here. Again, you can play with the measurements. It's not necessarily something that you have to have exact. It's all about to taste. So once you have that all chopped up, once you've added the celery and the red onion, it is time to add your Dijon mustard and your mayo. So for your Dijon mustard, what I would suggest is using a separate tablespoon measurement for it. So what you're going to need is a tablespoon and a half. This particular recipe calls for half of a tablespoon of Dijon mustard. Because I'm multiplying it by 3, that means I need a tablespoon and a half. So there's 1 tablespoon. Perfect. There's approximately a tablespoon and a half. Once you have your Dijon mustard into your mixture, you're going to want to do your mayo. This particular recipe, like I said, calls for a 1/4 cup. I have a 3/4 cup measurement because I'm multiplying it by 3, so it makes sense that I would need a 3/4 cup of mayo. Now, you don't have to make your tuna salad with mayo. I know there's quite a few tuna salad recipes that don't have mayo in them, or you can make your own mayo if you'd like to put that in there with it, but it's not something that you have to have. If you wanted to make something or add an alternative, there's lots of different mayo alternatives that might be a little bit healthier for you. For us, because we don't really eat mayo on a regular basis, we don't eat it with tuna salad, it's not too big of a deal. And this, I believe, is a low-fat brand as well, which is nice. Once you have your mayo in there, you're going to add your spices. So you can see it's a pretty simple process. Tuna salad is essentially tuna and a bunch of things thrown into a bowl and mixed together. For us, for this particular recipe, it calls for 1 teaspoon of parsley. We like to add extra parsley. So if I were to multiply this by 3, it would be 3 teaspoons. We usually double it, so we're looking at 6 teaspoons of parsley. As I said, you can play with the recipe. You can add different amounts of things depending on what your taste buds are. We like to have less onion, less celery, and more parsley within our tuna salad in particular. Another thing that this recipe calls for is salt and pepper to taste. Now what I usually like to do, I won't really measure this. What I usually like to do is just put a sprinkling in there. You can also add salt. Like I said earlier, you can add chives. You could add some sort of garlic if you wanted to. That's totally fine. It's up to you. Just depends on your taste buds. So once I have it all in the bowl, at this point, I'm now finished adding my ingredients. I'm just gonna mix it together. So what you want to make sure to do when you mix it is to mix it thoroughly. That should go without saying, but you want to make sure that you have it all mixed together in case the tuna has clumps in it that aren't necessarily supposed to be there, or in case there are extra ingredients that need to be moved around a little bit more. That is it. That's all for your tuna salad. If you do have extra tuna at the end, which I have quite a little bit left over, make sure you store it in an airtight container in the fridge. Otherwise, it's going to go bad very quickly. As it is, I will actually put this in the fridge once we help ourselves. I will put this in the fridge and cover it so that it is covered with saran wrap or some sort of protection over top of it. Your other option is to put it in an airtight container as well. The problem with this is that it doesn't last for very long. So this might last us maybe 3-4 days. Other than that, I wouldn't leave it longer than that, or it'll go to the dogs. And that's it, guys. Really simple, pretty healthy recipe as far as snacks go, and it's very high in protein. Tuna is very high in protein, so it's a really good snack, very quick to mix up if you're on the go. It's pretty good for kids as well. So give it a try, let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the comments. Bye for now.